lady. I'm recording you.
Recording.
We're already starting. See, I already broke him.
Watching you.
Recording in progress, precious.
You want to see my feet? I'm recording.
Not feet fetishes.
We've already started. That's it.
There you go. And I will say, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Replayer Podcast. This week we are not joined by Pagan, but we have Maria kind of filling in, and we are and we're also joined by Rowan, one of the replayers and Retro Replay website contributors. He's joining us for the first time this week. Say hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hey,
Rowan.
everyone. How's it going?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the show, both of you guys. Maria, welcome back. And Rowan, thank you for joining us this week. Look forward to chatting and getting to know you a little bit. And we can jump right into getting to know you as a replayer.
Getting to know you.
What do you want to know?
Maria, first shots fired, go.
I will say, how did you become a replayer?
Okay. So I started watching this show back when it first aired. So the very first episode, the Spider-Man in the Atari, I was like,
yeah,
so good.
So funny.
I'm in for the long haul. And then just been watching. And then I think it was in October 2020, Drew sent out a tweet for submissions for the Red Bear TV, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'd been writing for a little bit, and I had all these short stories and stuff. And I thought I'd just send one through and see what happens. So I did that, and I didn't hear anything for ages. So I sort of gave up, and I was like, oh, well, move on to something else. And then got an email back, and he was excited, and he was like, yeah, we got this blog starting up, and if you want to contribute, you can. And I was like, yeah, that should be fun.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and then he put me under Steph and Brandy, and then it's just sort of gone from there.
Nice. I mean, such a nice little thing to have replayers be able to contribute to the website, because it's just, we're big fans of the show. So it kind of feels like, as I'm a contributor myself, so it kind of feels like you're part of the show, building the show and stuff. So it's like really nice.
Yeah.
I was super excited when they were like, I'm onboarding you, and I'm like,
yes. I'm like, I made it. Done something.
Right.
Yeah.
Feels like I'm doing something with my life.
And I can tell Retro Replay is definitely leaning into that notion of like having more influence by the fans, kind of like everything, especially with the website. The website is ground zero for all of that. But yeah, so what was it you said you got into Retro Replay when?
Very first episode, I think.
All the way back to original Spider-Man. Okay, that's right. You did say that. Cool. So getting to know you a little bit, I assume you're a gamer based on some of the articles you've written. What was your introduction to gaming?
Oh boy, that does the Tamagotchi count as gaming?
Tamagotchi?
I guess so, yeah.
Who had a Tamagotchi before an actual like video game though?
Yeah, I was lovely.
Yeah, I had those little shitty egg things I just killed all the time.
I'm picturing like the old school handheld gaming systems where it had like two buttons and it was just like a few frames of animation.
yeah, that was it.
Like one of those little tiger things.
Yeah, the Tiger Electronics. That's it. And they're making a comeback. You can buy those now.
Why?
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, there you go.
So that's your official answer, Tamagotchi?
Tamagotchi.
It doesn't sound so great. I mean, it'd be Crash Bandicoot on the PS1.
All right.
Hey, I think it might have been one of my first games. Yeah, on PS1 that was my first game. It wasn't my first game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your first PS1 game.
PS1 game. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. So do you have a preferred platform? Team? What are you? Team Xbox? Team PlayStation?
Oh, I've always had a PlayStation, so it's PlayStation. I do have a Switch. That's pretty cool. Haven't jumped across to Xbox yet, but I've played a bit of Halo and I do enjoy that. So I'm like, is it worth the $650 just for Halo?
I mean,
you could get a Series S.
It's
cheaper.
Could be.
I don't have enough room, and I've got to fight for space as it is.
Right.
If the PlayStation 5 wasn't so huge,
Oh yeah, I don't have the PS5 yet, so that's another. That's
like a fridge.
Yeah, like a fridge.
Yeah.
Is that a jab at Xbox?
No.
It's
The mini fridge. But yeah, I'm kind of a PlayStation kid myself. I grew up with the whole like PlayStation systems all the way through, and it's only recently I got into Xbox where I'm like, oh yeah, got Game Pass, and then I'm just doing it. But yeah, PlayStation. Yeah, don't tell Dan.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a PlayStation T-shirt.
But an Xbox hat, so it's
Exactly.
it's confusing.
He's representing all the brands.
I have everything. I am a gamer, true and true to the heart.
True to the blood. That's true.
I love everything. I just don't always love everything as much.
That's true. That's true.
I definitely have a preference. So, do you have a favorite game that you could say?
Oh,
I know this is a really tough question, so we usually give you a little wiggle room. Like if you want to say a few, like, oh, I love these, and these, those kind of things.
Yeah,
go for it.
So, favorite RPG would have to be Dragon Age Inquisition, because I played through all that, bought all the DLC and everything, and loved it so much. I'll never go back and play it again. It's too long, but I loved it.
Damn it.
Favorite platform would have to probably torn between Crash Bandicoot Remastered Collection and Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania is a good game.
I'd have to go Sonic Mania, just the whole story behind the development and how it was by films.
So Sonic Mania was completely independently developed outside of Sega, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the fan influenced one, right? The one they made recently. Yeah.
I think it's funny that Sonic Mania not being made by Sega is better than a proper Sonic game.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's a really good game. I was really impressed with it. I got it. Yeah. Some of the levels, the soundtrack for it is so good. Like some of the sound effects, you're like, oh man, that's so good. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I bought it for PS4 and Switch. I loved it so much. I was like, nice.
I have it on vinyl. I have the soundtrack on vinyl. Never listened to it, but I have it.
But you have it, yeah. Oh, it's so good.
I have it.
Like,
so what are you playing now?
Jeez.
We're not just grilling you, well, it's interrogation.
That'll be the whole show. Just like, what are you doing now?
What are you doing?
At the moment, I've just finished Control for the PS4, and I've got the DLC for that. And I really enjoyed that game. Like have you guys played it?
I haven't. I'm tempted.
I've had the game. I've owned the game for like 2 years, I think, but I haven't started it yet. And every time I hear an article about Controller, like I just read about Controller hitting like X amount of number of players, and I'm like, damn, I still have to play that game. Like I own it, but I have not played it yet. And I've played every other Remedy game, so it's on the to-do list.
I have like this endless backlog of games that I'm like, I need to get to this, and then a new game comes out, and then that one gets pushed further back. You know, exactly, shiny. So I do. It's so bad.
Control was really good. I like there's a scene right at the end that like made the game for me. I was like, yes, this is so good, and I'll never experience it again. But it was just so good. So that's DLC for that, and then at the moment just trying to finish Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, it's a long game.
It's trying.
Yeah, it's a really good game, but it's long. It's like it's so much to do. I just get lost. I can't. Yeah,
that's the struggle I have with most open world games. That the more open it is, and the more there is to do, I tend to just kind of like phase out after a little while. It's just like I can't do it. So I got like a lot of open world games I've never finished because of that.
Yeah, I can't. I get too distracted. I'm like, oh look, something shiny over there in that mountain. I have to walk to the mountain. I'm just like, no, I'm gonna do this. And if I look at a game and I say it's 5 hours long, I'm like, I ain't doing it.
I actually usually will take advantage of like fast travel if a game has it. Like I have to fast travel, or else I'm never gonna beat this game. Because I want to do is walk everywhere or ride a horse or whatever the option is. But I tell myself, like, if I ever want to beat this game, I have to fast travel
and kill everything on the way. Just
of course.
That's just me, though. That's just me.
Yeah, that was like my problem with Ghost of Tsushima. Like, ooh, shiny bird, bye.
Exactly.
Yeah, games are so big now. It's hard to stay focused.
What are you playing right now, Maria?
Oh, what am I playing right now? Nothing, because I'm trying to get on with my projects.
True.
because every time I'm like, I need to do some work, there's like shiny games. And then I'm like, yeah, nothing gets done. So, yeah.
I'm actually currently working my way through a game called Death's Door,
which
is awesome. If you haven't heard of it, I definitely recommend checking out. It's currently available on Xbox and PC. I believe it will be coming to other consoles later. It's very much a classic Zelda-like, sort of. You play as a little crow who's a reaper, and he's got to collect souls. And of course, things go awry. And it's this very kind of macabre world, but it's got a lot of fun humor in the game that I can't stress enough how clever and well written it is. If you like old school top-down Zelda games, this is something to like. The combat can be a little brutal because it's kind of soulsy, but it's not to the point where when you die, you lose your souls. It doesn't do that. It doesn't hurt you that bad. It doesn't cut you that deep. But definitely check that game out if you like those kind of adventure games.
That's the one that Joshua did the trailer for, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I see it around a lot. He promotes it a lot, and I'm like, I probably should.
For context to listeners, Joshua is someone that we mutually know who's a game trailer maker.
We should get him on a podcast one day.
That's cool.
I've talked to him about that too. I would like to get him on or discuss that with him because he makes game trailers for a living. I would love to chat with him about that. I was gonna say I'm still chipping away at the Ace Attorney trilogy on Xbox too.
Objection.
Exactly.
Hold it.
It's great. I was sitting there playing that last night, and I stopped and thought about how the last time I played this game was back in like 2011 on my DS, and I'm like, now here I am, like 10 years later, playing it on my Xbox. Like, how great!
It's such a good game. I don't tend to like the anime style games. I'm not really like a JRPG type person, but when I played that game, I'm like, it's so good.
Oh yeah,
it's like the whole courtroom part where it's like objection.
Yeah, the over dramatization is great.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. Yeah. All right, let's get into it.
Well, I think we'll move on to, as Maria was alluding to, we'll start discussing a little bit of like the Retro Replay website stuffies. That's why we're here. Mr. Rowan has joined us. All of us actually at this point are contributors for the website.
Yes.
And have written for the website. You probably see my name a little too much because of the podcast, but Rowan here has actually written a number of articles, which I've jotted down for us to mention. You've done Friendship Enders.
Yep.
Mario Kart and Mario Party.
Yeah.
Why video game movies always come up short. I'm excited to talk about that.
That's a true one.
Rip Adobe Flash, the games we're going to miss. And Hidden Gems Driver San Francisco, which I actually helped edit a little bit on the back end way back when that article came out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had a hand in helping out with that.
A long time ago when that was relevant. But...
Back in the way back whens. So let's jump into Friendship Enders. I want to see where that article idea came from.
So Friendship Enders Mario Kart, that was my first one. And I'd sort of been thinking about what I wanted to do on the blog and what my articles wanted to be. And I was like, well, Retro Replay, it's always fun. At the end of the day, it's a fun show. People having fun. And the website should be about that. So I was like, okay, my article, what's fun? What do I like playing with mates? And I was like, Mario Kart. And then I was like, how many friendships have I lost to Mario Kart? A lot. So I was like, that's the idea. So it's pretty much just going through each of the Mario Kart games I played, sort of explaining the general premise behind them and what changed game to game, and then just a nice couple sentences about how I lost friends to that, or what was my favorite.
I think we all have
favorite moment of of those games. But it took me a little bit to sort of get it all written down. And then I just sort of sent it through, and people seem to like it. So I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, it's a really good article. I remember my first article. Was that your first article you wrote I remember my one. it was the same kind of thing where I was like, for ages, I was thinking, my first article, what is it going to be about? What is it going to be about? And then I'm like, I went through all these ideas, like I'm going to come up with some smart shit that's going to make me seem like a genius. And then I was just like, no, fuck that. No, fuck that. No, fuck that. Yeah. And then I was just like, then I started talking about just a discussion with my husband about like, why is there no co-op games? And then I'm like, that's it. That's my article. Where is the co-op games? And there it is. Sometimes it's just you can overthink it, but it's that's the best articles I think because they're natural. Because sometimes you can struggle to try and make something, and you end up like talking shit just for about 4 hours.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's funny that Mario Kart is on there, especially where I've gotten to the point in my life with Mario Kart that in the day when I used to play that game with friends, which it's been a long time now. Anytime we started playing, I would always be like, we cannot play by the rule of winner keeps playing because I will never stop playing. Have you ever done that rule? Like whoever wins keeps going and then the other people swap out. Yeah. No. So, and then it becomes this challenge where my friends are like, oh, you're going down. And then an hour later, I'm still winning. And they're like, I'm going to beat you eventually. Like,
I kind of did that with my nieces and nephews because we had this 4-way Mario Kart thing going. And I was like, I'm pretty good at Mario Kart. And they're like 10 years old. And so they're like, winner stays on. And I'm like, I am so bored. Somebody take it.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, they're like, I'm going to beat you. Well,
I've set handicaps for myself in that game where I will not power slide or boost. And I still win.
God,
yeah.
That's all fun and games till someone starts crying. And then you're like, okay. Time to change game.
Somebody else.
It's all fun and games until someone gets a controller in the face. It's smash. There you go.
Yeah.
Now I don't have as much experience with Mario Party, but I will say I think my favorite Mario Party was 4. Like that was the one I think I played the most on the GameCube, right?
Yeah.
This is my memory of that game, by the way. Because there was that one. There was a mini game in Mario Party 4 where you had to hold your breath and you had to like charge it up by clicking the triggers. And everybody else sat there going like this, and I would put the controller between my lap and go.
Yeah.
And I would always beat them.
Yeah, the go-to button mash, just
got really good at that. That's how you get a PlayStation 5. That's cut. That's cut.
I don't want to talk about
fresh.
No.
So I don't have as much experience with Mario Party ending friendships, but I mean, I want to hear a specific occurrence where one of your friends was like, "Smash! I'm out of here."
It wasn't that dramatic, but we were playing Super Mario Party, and it was like evening. We'd caught up, had a bit of like dinner and stuff, and we were just playing, and we were doing 20 turns, and he was just complaining the whole game about how the game was screwing him over, and it's so unfair. And then I think with about 2 turns to go, and like with Mario Party, it's however many turns you have, the only real one that matters is like the last 5. So the whole way through he's complaining, and then he just gets lucky rolls through, grabs a whole bunch of stars. He's like, we're equal going into the bonus stage. And at this point I am so mad. I am livid that he is gonna win this. So bonus stars come on, and there's I think this one, it was a star for the team member of the game. So you have to like get ally of the game or whatever. And it was the AI, because it was just the 2 of us, and the AI had Luigi as the only other ally, and he had a whole bunch. And I was just like yelling at the screen, give it to Luigi. And he just says he doesn't have one. I'm like, God damn it. Like I literally threw my controller down and he won. And I was just like, I didn't cry, thankfully, but I was just like,
I'm not gonna cry.
Look at
so mad. But we haven't played Mario Party together since, but I'll have to play with him again sometime.
And the rage is real.
It was I get so mad playing that and Mario Kart. It's just like I get mad, but then it just sort of goes after I finish playing, which is good.
You don't want to go out and murder people afterwards, so that's good. You can contain it to the house. That's what you need.
Yeah. Keep that rage in check.
I
feel like the main memories I ever had of playing Mario Party competitively, it was always like that, where like I'd be like fully in the lead, like 4 or 5 stars. No one else has any.
Yeah.
They have 1, maybe 2. I've got a bunch, and we get to like that final round, and somebody got the thing where it like swaps your stars with somebody else.
Oh yeah,
and they would just instantly take the lead for the final round, and then it's like, what? Like that's the worst possible thing that they could do in that game. Like I earned those stars.
Whole Mario franchise is like that with the whole like blue shell thing though. It's like getting ahead is not anything because you're just going to get screwed over. It's like, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your next cycle, you had the wider video game movies come up short. I know that too. Don't they though?
Yeah.
Don't they?
Don't they?
Mm-hmm.
We've discussed similar discussions on this podcast plenty of times about like how video game movies are just always bad, essentially. And so,
what's a particular one for you that you're like that movie?
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Oof.
That movie.
Agreed.
So rough. Like, and it's not like they had a good starting point with the original Mortal Kombat. They had the soundtrack.
I saw that movie in theaters, by the way.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
And I was immediately disappointed when they killed off Johnny Cage in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And I was
I'm like,
no,
the best character. Best character.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come and attack me. He is the best character in that film. I will fight you all.
But he was great. He was the hero of that film, actually, I think.
He was the hero that the movie needed.
It wasn't Liu Kang.
The movie needed a lot of things, though.
I will say the first Mortal Kombat movie is definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. Like, I love that movie as bad as it is.
I don't. No, I was so excited when that came out. I was like, Mortal Kombat movie. And then I got it out of Blockbusters like the day it was released. And we brought it home. And my dad was so excited because he loved Mortal Kombat and he watched it. And he was like, what is this shit? he was so angry. But it is what it is. It's one of the, I think it is a guilty pleasure for a lot of people, like those movies. And some of them, I feel like a lot of video game movies are on that edge of like being a guilty pleasure and being like one of those, it's so bad it's good, but sometimes they're just so bad they're really bad, and so that's
it just doesn't carry over. You're like,
no, it doesn't, does it?
No. I thought the remake of like the new Mortal Kombat, I was like, this will be the one, maybe, please, hopefully. And I went and saw it and I was like, it's not.
Is it not? I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed the new Mortal Kombat movie. I thought it was pretty decent for what they can do, because the Mortal Kombat lore is just so deep and like you can't capture that in a film. It's just never going to happen. But what they did was, I think, a very decent interpretation. I think the ending fell a little short, but since Maria hasn't seen it yet, I won't say anything more. Yeah. But ultimately, I enjoyed it.
It was fun. It was fun to watch, and the effects were pretty good at times, and other times they're a bit. But
as long as they weren't Annihilation bad effects, it's like the cheap sound effects of the lightning, like the squeak lightning.
And the clouds in the background. It's like, oh man, that's like, God, yeah. But no, I'd go see it just to see how much you enjoy it. I enjoyed it, but I was too much.
I'm sure I've seen worse movies. That's the thing. I'm sure I've seen worse.
It's not the worst you've seen. It's not Dragon Ball.
I will say this: you can't not like Kano in the new movie.
Kano,
I think, was actually the best character. He was great,
like a Cockney gangster or something, isn't he?
Something like that. But he's the biggest comedy relief in the whole movie, and he's great.
What you usually
nails it. He nails it so good.
I've always said that I think Silent Hill is one of my favorite video game based movies. That like I think it did a good job of capturing the essence. Yeah, I'm talking about the first one. It captured the essence of the games without being the game, and I think that's what movies kind of need to do, because there's no way it's going to be the game. It's not gonna. Yeah. Whereas Resident Evil did the opposite. It did not capture the essence at all.
The Resident Evil movie, the first one, I was like, what is happening? But then again, like I'm always remembering the first Resident Evil, walking around putting chess pieces in things. Do you really want a movie about that? Not really. No. So it's just like 3 hours of someone finding chess pieces and putting diamonds in tiger statues. It's kind of boring. So
find that tiger. Right?
So it's kind of hard to make a movie of it,
Well, you can spin it into a National Treasure sequel. Just get Nick Cage again.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd watch that.
Does it count that Nick Cage did that like Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
He did?
Yeah, it's not Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a mock of Five Nights at Freddy's. It's got a different name. I don't remember. Josh would tell you. Shout out to Josh. It's on Hulu. I forget what it's called, but basically he works at a animatronic theme park. There's kids that come there. There's murder and death and mayhem.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, sounds so it's Five Nights at Freddy's, but not that. So I need to watch it. I've heard it's decent.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure.
I'll need to check that out. That's
sign me up.
Yeah. I love Nick Cage.
Do you have a favorite video game movie, Rowan?
It'd have to be Mortal Kombat, like the original Mortal Kombat. It's because I haven't seen any of Silent Hills, any of the Resident Evils. The Sonic movie, that was
really good, actually.
I haven't seen it yet.
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Going in, I was like,
I was very pleased with the Sonic movie, actually. I thought it was probably one of the best movies ever as far as a video game based movie.
Yeah,
definitely. Okay. If you can watch it, it's really worth it, especially because it takes a premise like Sonic and turns it into something relatable, and you can actually see it, enjoy it. Like, they did a good job with it, and I'm assuming hopefully it's all the better because of the character redesign that they did, and I'm actually really excited for the next Sonic movie.
I think if they had went for the original Sonic, it would have been terrible with the two little eyes
and the human teeth.
Right?
No.
What were you thinking? They've got the new one. They got that I can't remember his name. The actor for the Bean Knuckles. He was in the Suicide Squad. Yeah. I'm like, all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready. This is good.
Could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to move us along to your article about the Flash games. And I just want you to just jump right into that. Tell me about this article.
Okay. So I found out probably late November last year that Adobe Flash was being sort of shut down, and you could no longer play Flash games and everything.
Like discontinued, essentially.
Yeah, and I had spent a good part of my childhood just playing Flash games.
Anyone in computer time at high school playing Flash games?
I
used to go constantly on the Newsgrounds website playing all the Flash games.
Yeah, and like all that was going away, and I was just like, and I had like a real nostalgic pang for it. I was like, I'll go like play them again. And then I forgot about it. And then I only remembered after it had been shut down, and I went back and I couldn't play. I was like, oh.
Yeah. There was some good Flash games back then though. Like, just to have that big library of just these free games that you could just play in your browser. And some of them were like bad, but some of them were good. So yeah. I saw that article and I was like, yeah, he's got a point.
Yeah.
He's got a point.
What was your go-to site? Because mine was, can we mention site names? Is that
go for it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was oneMoreLevel.com, and it just had a whole bunch of Flash games, and you just scroll through, and it's glorious.
Yeah, I did Newgrounds too when I was a kid. Newgrounds, and I remember our school had actually banned Newgrounds for a while.
Really?
I think I used to do like E-Bombs World as well. Used to have some Flash games on it, and then mostly Newsgrounds and stuff. Yeah, I used to just Google Flash games and just go wherever Yeah.
I used to always play like the Stickman shooter games. They were like hyper violent, and like the teachers were like, "No, you can't be playing that."
And you're like, "No, this is fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. It's just a stick guy with blood exploding out of their head. It's fine."
Yeah, is that like a bit of brain matter? No, it's like just
fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
fine.
I hadn't even thought about like old school Flash games until I was like reading your article. Like, oh yeah, I like totally forgot about those.
Yeah,
I got all nostalgic. I was like, oh yeah, Flash. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Why I never did my homework, Flash games. That's right, yeah.
I always did my homework before I played Flash games, kids. That's always do your homework.
I cannot say that I ever did that. So power to you, Rowan.
Yeah, right. Someone was responsible.
Yeah.
A little bit.
For some reason, I remember this soccer game too, playing that a lot, where you just kind of had to keep bouncing the soccer ball. You got to see how many times you could bounce
like
it.
slimes.
Oh yeah, slopes.
Like little semicircles. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I played that all the time, and I always lost. Couldn't get the time. It was one of my greatest regrets in life, not being someone in that game.
Greatest regret.
Was there any other like revelations or anything in that article as far as like, you know, like just, or was it just more reminiscing on like, oh, this era of gaming is kind of gone, kind of like almost like an old console.
Yeah, it was more sort of looking back and being like, and it was kind of a nice trip down memory lane for me as well, because I was just I did some research and I was like, oh yeah, that game. Like I hadn't played them in ages, and I sort of had another go at them. And I'm like, wow, I am terrible at these games, but I was like properly bad. But I enjoyed them so much playing them as a kid, and and it was just kind of like going back and just sort of like a farewell sort of thing to them, because I'm never going to be able to play them again. And
that's the kind of sad thing about having like digital media. You know, that's one of the reasons why I kind of always go for like disc versions of consoles and stuff, because even though you own that, if your console dies or something dies or they shut down these services, you've lost them games and stuff. And so it's like with Adobe Flash, it's like you've lost those games. You can't go back and play them. So that's why I like to own a disc at least and say I've got it, you know. So F for Flash. F in chat.
I was going to say that's kind of like how there was the whole thing with like the PlayStation Store being shut down on the Vita and the PS3 because it's like that's just gone. And it's like if you had anything on there digitally, you can never get it again unless you download it and keep it on your hard drive. But then say your PlayStation dies and you want to get a new PlayStation, you'll never get it again.
There's like some songs that I have on Apple Music, and you're like, I download them and stuff. And then sometimes the songs just disappear and it goes, oh, this song's no longer available. And I'm like, yeah, but I pay the service to listen to that song. That's my song. And it's like, no, you can't have it anymore. I have the Silent Hill soundtrack on there. And so sometimes they're on there and they just vanish. And I'm like, I like that song though, but it's not available anymore. I'm like,
they lose like the licensing or something. And then that's it. And that's
shitheads.
That's kind of the downside to digital gaming, digital movies. You're purchasing a license to get this item, but you don't own that item. So it can ultimately just go poof and it's gone. So it's one of the reasons where like I love the convenience of digital gaming, but I'm very much in the I want to preserve gaming history, and like that's why I have like a big gaming collection, and I'm like kind of rebuilding some of my older game collection. I go to those retro game cons and I'm just, let me find all these classic games. So definitely kind of like a similar notion there. So lastly, your article that we have to discuss here was the Driver San Francisco, a hidden gem, as you put it. And I like to think that hidden gems, you're referring to a game that you believe is something that people missed and they should experience. And I agree that that's a good idea. Like just that notion. Like I'm not saying Driver specifically because I've never played that Driver. I've played all Drivers, but not that one.
I am saying that is a great game. Go play that game.
I think I have played that one because I was a fan of the first one. So when the second one came out, I did play it. I'd agree. It's a good game.
I'd never played any of the Driver. I just saw it at Kmart, and when they had games back then, and it was like $15. I'm like, nice. They don't have games anymore. It's all gone, unfortunately. But so I got that, and I was like, this is awesome. Still haven't finished it. Like I'm on the final boss race battle thing, and it's I can't go through it again. It's just
it's too hard. It's too hard.
But I love it. I love that game so much.
It's like the first Driver, the the beginning part, the tutorial bit where you have to do you got to do a 180 and then go through the cones and then do a spin, and it's just like it's like the hardest part in the entire game. I'm like, whose idea was this?
Right. Yeah, they remade it in Driver San Francisco.
Oh, did they? Like, it's a dick move.
Oh no, it's fun. All honesty, I couldn't beat it. I had my brother beat it for me, and he's younger than me, so he takes a lot of pride in that. And he's like, haha, and I'm like, just shut up.
Shut up. Go away.
Shut it.
Yeah.
Shut your face.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because I think I had a similar notion to want to write articles about games that I feel like people missed that they should at least check out. And I mean, I've at least done it on this podcast numerous times where I'm like, oh, definitely check out this game. If you didn't play this game, go play it. Go find it. If you can get a hold of it, try it out. Like I've got dozens of games that I can think of that I feel like are either missed or underappreciated.
And sometimes you find that those games have come out like the same time as a known franchise, and so they just get pushed under the radar, and so a lot of people don't play those games.
Here's a big one for you right now: Dragon's Dogma.
Oh yeah,
that game came out at the same time as, I think, around the same time as Skyrim. So like nobody paid attention to Dragon's Dogma. I'm like, screw Skyrim, go play Dragon's Dogma. So much better.
That's interesting. Yeah, because there are a lot of games that come out and you just, they fly under the radar, and you're just like, oh, you should play this game, and people go, never heard of it, and you're like, oh yeah, because it was overshadowed by a completely different game. Yeah, but I remember Driver. It was pretty decent. I think Driver, a lot of people didn't play it because it was around the same time as the GTA 3 kind of stuff, and so I think it kind of got looked at like it was a GTA clone a little bit, but more rough around the edges. But it was a good game. I enjoyed it.
I remember renting Driver from wherever I was running PS1 games back then. And playing it because I played the first two on PS1 way back when. Yeah, and there was that one that they kind of made, and it was it Getaway, and it was set in London or something. There was a version that was
of it.
Sony's like first party game that they made,
which is too bad. But it was just kind of like driving around London, and it was all right, but it was just like you drive around and like, shut up, you schleg, and you're like, oh okay. It's just like being at London, really. It was fun.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. We're going on. Moving on.
I mean, I could talk about hidden gems all day, but we can definitely
talk about it. I'm more than happy to talk about hidden gems.
Here's the thing. Actually, one of our timely topics, this actually works for this. They just announced that there's rumors that Rockstar is going to be remastering the PS2 GTA games.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah.
Which I think
I would be down for that.
I want to play Vice City again. I'm totally down to play Vice City
just for
again.
Just for the soundtrack.
Oh my god, the soundtrack was so good in that game.
The 80s jams. Yeah.
So like I wanted to mention that because one, I mean, if you haven't played the old GTA games, like they're probably some of like the best games in history, I think, as far as just the first great open world games. When you go to GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas. I haven't played that much San Andreas, but I played a lot of 3 and I played a lot of Vice City. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like I remember that shift when Grand Theft Auto went from that, the down top view, and then they brought out the 3D one. It was like mind blowing. So if they could remake that, it'd be great, especially the Vice City one. Like in today's graphics, if they can make it like GTA 5 looking and stuff with the old 80s soundtrack, that's my jam.
Oh yeah.
Did you play
absolutely.
Rowan?
I've had some mates play them, and I've sort of had a bit of a go, and it's fun just causing mayhem and just blowing people up. Like this is not going to make me sound like a well-adjusted person at all, but
we are not well-adjusted.
No, that's good. But like Just Cause 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I go around just
chaos.
Blowing people. I have so much fun just like sticky.
Do you ever do that weird thing with like GTA where you drive sensibly for a bit?
Yeah. Sometimes.
I'm going to sit at this red light behind this other car and just sit there.
Just sit there. And then a cop just comes up behind you, just rear ends you, and you're like, the fuck, dude?
You're like, that's it. Yeah.
Rampage.
Just blowing everybody up. 5 stars, whatever.
That was always a game that me and my friends played where it was like, okay, take the controller, cause as much chaos as you can, get the 5 stars, and survive as long as possible. And we would time once you hit 5 stars and see how long you live for. And then it was like we'd pass the controller back and forth, every time somebody died. And that was our fun, just blowing the crap out of everything.
I mean, it's kind of, you have to in the game though, like GTA, you have to get the tank, you have to get the army after you. It's kind of it's like a rite of passage, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I can't say, you were talking about being well adjusted, but I can easily say that I remember the first time I played the game, I had rented it, and it was very quickly like me and my brothers were like, you can do this in this game, like shh, don't let mom hear you. Like,
right.
Like, dude, you can get drugs and you can beat up hookers and you can steal their money, and like, don't let mom know. And they were like in here laughing maniacally, like ha ha ha, ha, like beating the piss out of everyone.
Oh yes.
And then my mom found out. It's like, you can't play that game anymore.
She's like, what are you playing? It's like, oh, I'm on a mission.
Tetris.
Why? What are you doing?
Tetris.
I'm just delivering some cocaine. It's fine. Oh, okay.
It's fine.
That's nice, dear.
If you want to really make money, it's in heroin. You should do that.
Okay, dear. That's nice. Brush your teeth. So yeah, I absolutely would love that. I mean, I'm always a fan of bringing back the old classics anyway, because I'm old and I'm like, get off my lawn. But so I mean, anything that's got remastered, but as long as they do it right and keep faithful, I want them to keep that, the vibe. I want it to feel like PS2 era GTA. I want it to be that. I want it to be kind of silly and a bit janky and a bit like the Goofy, but it's just...
And some remasters do that better than others. And I was just thinking, like, how do you feel about remasters in general?
Sometimes I do like them, but it's just, I find that sometimes they change the game too much to kind of keep with what's popular these
Modern
days.
trends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a difference between remaster and remake.
Yes,
so
that's true.
That's a difference.
Because I remember they messed up the Silent Hill remake, the remasters.
Like those remasters were weird.
Yeah, they took the fog away and they made it like black and stuff, and it was like, what happened?
Yeah, so, and they re-recorded like the dialogue.
Yeah, and so so sometimes it can be a little strange. Like I'm a little bit like, all right, and it's just like, okay, yeah.
I think like the best examples of good remasters are like the Crash Bandicoot remaster trilogy, Spyro remaster, because they take the base game and they overhaul it, so it's still the same game, just kind of like updated visuals. And I think the best remasters are served when you take a game that's old enough where when you overhaul the graphics, it's like, oh, I'm playing something new and shiny, but it still feels like I'm playing the same game.
Yeah, it still has that nostalgic thing where it's like it kind of catches you in the,
Like, I think it's unfair, and this isn't like a jab or anything, but I think it's unfair for The Last of Us remaster to be called a remaster.
Yeah, it's just
because it's just a port.
Upgrade.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the proper wording for that.
Yeah, and you're not remastering it. It literally is just, you've just shined it, made it.
Yeah, if anything, they up-resed it a smidgen.
Yeah.
So
just a smidge.
Yeah,
a smidge.
Just a smidge.
For me, just in terms of the remasters, I feel like a good game that's remastered, like it'll update the visual and stuff, but it keeps the sort of underlying sense of the gameplay fun, like the same that it was. Like with GTA San Andreas, if they keep that same sense of, we'll just like do as much mayhem as you can and just like survive, and that's still like present there, then I think it's going to be a good remake. But if they just go, we'll make this like GTA 5, another one where they just sort of like sandblast everything up and just be like, you do this now and it's exactly the same. And that's what I don't want. I don't want, like, I'm getting kind of bored of GTA 5, to be honest. I'm like, every time something new comes out, it's like, you got pregnancy stick, let's put GTA 5 onto it. You're like, can we put a new game, please? It's like, stop making it just a DLC. It's just like, because it's not a new game, you're just remastering, making the same thing over and over again. So for sure, like I do want that element of silliness to be with it. Like I don't want it to be, it's I don't know. I think I'm getting old. Just, get off my classics.
I want to say that I think one of my favorite remasters too would be the Halo 1 remaster, like the one they did the full like especially because my favorite thing that you can do in that remaster is actually hit a button and swap it back to the original graphics.
I love that.
Yes.
And the game is running in real time in both engines, and it's beautiful. It's amazing to see that and experience that, where you can switch back and forth on the fly. And I think that's what makes it a great remaster, is because it's the same game running underneath with the shine on top of it, and you can literally just kind of pull back the veil. And I think Diablo 2 remaster is doing that too.
Yeah, it's kind of updated the graphics a little bit. One of my personal favorite remasters, and we're going a little bit way back here, the Monkey Island remaster.
Really?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, because they remastered all the graphics and they put voice actors in. So Phil Lamar is in it, and so there's quite a few voice actors in it doing all the voices and stuff. So you're going around, rather than reading the text, you actually get all the voice actors and stuff. And so I'm just like, that's one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm like,
really?
Yeah, all right, yeah. So that's my favorite remaster.
Did you know there's a Monkey Island reference in the new Sea of Thieves expansions?
No.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they added the Pirate's Life, the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff. They added to Sea of Thieves. There's these new areas and new levels you can play. In the first mission, there's a side area that is a little tricky to get to, but if you get in there, the boat is covered in journals from the main character from Monkey Island, and it's all Monkey Island references.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna make separate expansions for Monkey Island.
Oh, I would totally play that. I love that game. I love that game so much.
Like, if you haven't played Sea of Thieves yet, now you will.
Now I will, yeah. Because I remember when I saw the references on Uncharted 4, and I was like, that's garbage. I know who that is. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm a massive Monkey Island fan. I get the reference. How appropriate. You fight like a cow. Oh, do you know I got a Facebook warning because I posted some fan art I did of Monkey Island, and somebody said, oh, you look like a dairy farmer. And I responded with, how appropriate, you fight like a cow. And Facebook flagged me. And I'm like, for
saying
bullying.
You fight like a cow?
Yeah. So I got flagged for bullying on Facebook for saying you fight like a cow. Geez. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool.
I've had so much worse come through, and I'm like, how is this not getting picked up? And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, apparently fight like a cow is really offensive, apparently.
Maybe they just don't like cows. They're like, no.
If anyone did watch the trailer talk this week, we can discuss it briefly.
Yeah, I watched that.
I didn't because I've had a really busy week. So if you guys want to discuss that, I haven't actually. You can tell me about this new Cinderella reimagined thing. Is it a movie or is it a show?
It's a movie.
Okay, and it's going to be on Amazon?
Amazon Prime, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's Cinderella. It's not. I never see. I didn't see the movie as being anything that was any like different. It's a reimagining, but it basically to me seems very much. Yeah, it's basically let's milk it for more money type thing.
Didn't they just make a Cinderella remake a few years ago?
Yeah, it was a Disney one. So this one is kind of. I don't think it's has the
musical theater style.
Yeah, they sing a lot. And so it doesn't have the whole pumpkin and the things. As far as I know, it seemed a lot more like it was different, but it's still Cinderella. So it just, So to me, I'm not really too interested in it because I'm not really a fairy tale type person. But we were kind of discussing a little bit like. I would like to see a Cinderella movie from the real like fairy grim stories.
Dark version of it.
The dark version where they like cut their toes off to try and get the slippers on and stuff like that. Like I want to see the original remake.
See, now that's actually what I was hoping you were going to say this was the dark gritty version of Cinderella, but no,
no, it's all like Prince Charming and that kind of crap.
Well, it's like most fairy tales are really dark. And then there's the Disneyfied version of them where it's all happy, joy, singing, dancing. It doesn't usually go nearly as dark, but
because like the Little Mermaid, don't they doesn't she have like her legs stitched together or something? And it's like a weird thing of her fins. It's all just
real dark.
It's really brutal though. And I would love to see that version of it because I'm a twisted freak apparently.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think it's a different take because I feel like I see the same movie over and over again, and it's a princess movie and happily ever after and stuff. But I feel like I would like to see.
This kind of goes back to the discussion we had on the podcast. Was it last week or the week before? We were talking about movies kind of regurgitating, like they just keep remaking the same thing. When we were talking about Ghostbusters and how we're like excited for this. It's a new Ghostbusters movies. They're using the name recognition, but at least it looks fresh. It looks interesting. But there's this constant rehash of the same garbage over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and I feel like it's just they go on the name because they think that fans of the actual like Cinderella story, for example, are gonna see it because it's Cinderella, but it's just you're just regurgitating the same stories over and over again. And so it's just I would like to see something different. I mean, I know the Cruella thing is a bit of a weird one, but at least they kind of tried something different.
Yeah, I appreciate that much with Cruella, like to tell a different story. And that's actually, that kind of brings me back to the Last of Us HBO series. Every time I hear about that show coming closer and closer to the original game, I'm more and more disappointed.
Yeah.
Because they were saying
something new.
They said originally that it was going to tell different stories.
Yeah. But then I saw the pictures where it's like, oh, we've cast Sarah and we've cast this person. You're like, you know what happens to Sarah. So it's like it's that whole, like, you're just going to retell the story though. Like,
so now I'm just going to get the game, but in movie form.
Yeah.
In a less interactive medium than what I could be experiencing it. And that's ultimately going to ruin. It's not going to ruin, but it's going to like diminish any emotional moments they try and go for. Because it's like, I could be playing this, actually controlling this instead of watching.
Yeah. Because that opening scene is so powerful in The Last of Us. Like it's the only game scene that I've played and I'm like, that's hard, like hardcore and stuff. So I feel like to pull that off in the show is going to be, I don't think they're going to do it. I can't imagine it.
I was really hoping to get more stories in the Last of Us universe and less a retelling of Joel and Ellie, essentially.
I would rather have them not had Joel or Ellie and do someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
same.
You know, like a different kind of, because there's a book and it's called The Girl with All the Gifts, and it basically is the Last of Us story. And it's kind of it's not in the same universe, it's a completely different story, but it's it's about the cordyceps and that kind of stuff, and it's talking about people living in that world and things. And it would have been interesting to see like a different side of the story, because I feel like we've seen the Joel and Ellie to death, basically. Literally.
Yeah. I was biting my toe. I was waiting the whole time. I'm like, this is it.
Dude. Too soon.
Damn it.
Too soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a Cinderella movie. People are going to watch it. So
it is what it is. It's nothing too special. And I'm sure that was the majority of the trailer talk. They probably discussed a lot of the same, where it's like, yep. Cinderella. As
soon as they started singing, PJ was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
But then he circled back, and I was like, "This." It was like an own little arc. It was like, "No, this movie." Oh, I'm in, and it was just like,
I was like, "Hang on, what happened?"
Yeah.
So PJ was in on it.
Then? Yeah, and then he was like, "I am he was like, I'm a Disney princess master," and I'm like, "Hang on, what?"
At that point, I was kind of like, "Oh, this is taking a weird turn," but all right, let's go.
All right, sure. Yeah.
If PJ got brought back around, I should definitely check this out and see.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn because I don't have Amazon, and I don't think this is what's going to push me to get Amazon Prime.
No.
And I don't think it's going to be the same for many people unless you're like, yes, Cinderella musicals, let me at it. I was so disappointed because it was like Cinderella reimagined, but it's just like
it wasn't reimagined though. It's the same story.
And they're singing, and it just feels like a bit of a.
So what they mean is Cinderella retold again.
Again, yeah, it is basically, and the singing, I can't do it.
See, now I'm weird when it comes to musicals and singing. Like there's a lot of like the really old school sing-songy musicals I can't really tolerate or stomach, but I'm so used to like old Disney cartoon movies that have singing
fine
in it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the Disney is fine, but I just can't with the whole like, he's got a sandwich, I have a sandwich, he's got a sandwich, he's got a sandwich, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Seriously.
I wanted to shout out though, there's a new show on Apple TV that I've been watching called Schmigadoon.
Yes.
It is brilliant. It's all singing and dancing with people who aren't part of the show. And they're just like constantly like, why is everybody singing? What is happening? and it's hilarious. It's actually extremely well written. It's super clever, and like some of my favorite jokes in the show are like there's a part where like the main female character just spent an evening with this male character, and like he starts singing about how she tamed him and now he's got to start a family and she's got a baby, and she's like, nope, I'm not pregnant. I promise you, I'm not pregnant. I have a little device in me that keeps me, and he just keeps singing and singing. And she's like, I'm gonna go, and she just leaves while he's still singing.
Yeah, you can hear it in the background as she's leaving. I'm like, oh man,
it's so good. I can't say enough about it. Ted Lasso is still good. Ted Lasso is super good. These are shows that you should watch, by the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I will. Because I see, I like things like that. I like things that don't take it too seriously, but when it's just, there's some musicals that it makes me cringe. I'm just like, stop it. Yeah. Stop it. Yeah. But
I will say Mythic Quest too. Mythic Quest is great. Another Apple Plus show. If you don't have Apple Plus, at least try to watch these shows somehow.
Somehow.
But
Apple
really good.
Plus will take sponsorship, maybe. If you want. Hey.
I have a thing.
Thing, Apple.
Hashtag sponsor.
I'm a corporate shill. Apple, I will do.
I will take Apple sponsorship.
Hey, I will buy a tree if it has an apple on it. All right.
You've made that joke before.
Not on this podcast.
Yes, you have.
No, it's on the Deadpan podcast.
That's true.
Man.
All right.
Hey, I just rehash them. It's fine.
It's all good. So we're going to wrap things up here, guys. Thank you both for joining me today. And Rohan, this is going to be your time to tell us a little bit about where people can find you, if you want to share anything you're working on, and your Twitter handle, if you got one.
Yep. So I've got a website and a blog that's all part of the same thing. You can get there by going to my Twitter at Rowan J. Elliott. And I'm assuming the link will be down below. I'm pointing down, but it could be down there.
In the show notes, down below, all that good stuff.
So you can click the link to there, and then there'll be a little link tree link. You click that, and that'll have everything, all my socials and stuff. So you can just go through there, click
easy peasy.
My newsletter as well. That's where you get sort of first viewing on what's coming up for the month on my blog and any exciting news. And you can read my short stories for free. So that's always good.
Oh, that's cool. Nice. I'll check that out.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So that'll be good. So if you want, have a look and flick me a message, or just like something or read something or something. Do something with it.
Do something. That's all right.
Yeah, just
do something. Anything, please.
Anything.
How about you, Maria?
You can find me at Pocket Ninja 85 on Twitter, and Pocket Ninja 85 on twitch.tv. And on the website as well, retroreplayshow.com. I've got a couple of articles on there, and go check mine out. Go check Rowan's out.
Yes.
Good things. And Dan's too.
Yep, I do. I do the monthly update, and I write an article here and there when I can, when I find time. So I always just put out this little list of all the big games that are coming out for the month, basically, and I highlight a few standouts that I think people should check out. Most of the ones you already know.
Yeah,
but
there's some good ones in there sometimes, though. There's some I never even thought of. I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting.
I will try to do that if I see a game coming up that I think, ooh, this is one that people should know about if they don't already know. So I will try to usually highlight those to make sure, especially like Biomutant. I thought, if you don't know this game exists, you should check it out just because it's unique.
Yeah.
So So I'm going to wrap things up here. You can, of course, find me at Stark Evil Vash on most platforms, and I am Stark Evash on Twitter. That's StarkYVash.
Why?
And you can reach the podcast if you want to message us here at thereplayerpodcast@gmail.com. You can give us any comments, concerns, complaints, what have you. If you want to be on the show, you can let us know, and you can join us and chat with us.
Fun.
It's right.
I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah.
Good to know. Instant feedback.
I will come back on whenever
this is
you want.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Such a silly place.
And of course, you can reach out to Retro Replay at members@retroreplayshow.com if you have any questions or concerns regarding Retro Replay, memberships, things like that. Pagan handles that stuff, so you can bother her.
Not me. Pagan, not me.
Pagan.
Pagan.
Yeah, and that just about does it here for us this week. Thank you all for joining us. Yep. And with that, it's game over.
Pleasure.
Game over, folks.
Bye.
Music plays. Da, 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 da.